Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to yet another great edition of Topic Time with Harrison Young. It is May 1st and it is murky, but you know what? I don't care a lick because I'm going to have a great show tonight. And when you see who my guest is, if you don't already, you're going to see why. First, I got to get to the underwriters. Don't have too many tonight, and then we'll start the show. We got Dave's Automotive in Hanson on Route 58. We got MDI Auto Brokers and Repair in Whitman, home of the fully certified used car. Then we got Carver Jewelers, Ronald and Lyle Delano Goldsmiths right here in the building. So on that note, now we will start the show. And you guys may recognize this mug right here. This is Johnny Peasy, one of the most famous comedians / magicians in the world right now. His career is on a roll like never before. And I am so honored that he agreed to do my show tonight. And he's good friends with many of the comedians. You may have, you know the household names. The Lenny Clarks, the Dennis Learys, he's worked with all those guys. And so, again, Johnny Peasy, so wanted to have you on Topic Time.
Well, thank you for having me, Harrison. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you here. All right. So you told me some really interesting stuff, just before we started, and you gave me plenty of material to cover the show with you tonight. So, I mean, I basically do the same thing with every guest, no matter how well known they are. I say, okay, let's backtrack to when you were a kid and how it led you to where you're at now. And if I have any questions, I'll interject. So you told me you were a postman for 40 years, and then somehow it led you to be a comedian. Now, looking at you, I'd say your age, your age range is probably maybe slightly higher, beyond mine, a little past it, not much. So let's talk about that. How did one thing beget the other? And you let me know, and then I'll interject if I have any questions. So go ahead.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, my father was an opera singer.
Okay.
So as a kid growing up, now he had already retired from opera, but he was an amazingly talented guy.
Right.
He not only was he a great singer, but an amazing pianist.
Okay.
So I kind of lived in that shadow as a kid. And then
Where'd you guys grow up? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in East Boston,
Okay.
Mass. And my earliest recollection of being funny,
Yeah.
or trying to make people laugh, I should say, was first day of kindergarten.
Okay.
I poured one of those little cartons of milk over a girl's head.
Okay.
Everybody laughed.
I don't think, even she?
I don't remember.
Oh, yeah, that's it. That's selective, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
That certainly is. And then, kind of got me a laugh. And then from then on, it was, I was always a class clown, but the guy who I admired, who I probably at one point did the best imitation of Jerry Lewis.
Okay.
He was my idol growing up.
Cool.
My mother would wake me up at 3 in the morning if there was a Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin movie on.
Cool.
And so, that's how it began. And I was a pretty shy kid growing up, but when I had the opportunity to squeeze in and try to make people laugh, I would.
Okay, so you were kind of a sporadic clown, but your personality was also kind of introverted, I see. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
A little dichotomy there.
Yeah.
All right, so this was as a kid. So as you grew older, what happened like in high school and as you matured into an adult, for lack of a better word?
Okay, so So anyways, so when I was 20 years old, I got into the post office.
Okay.
Got on pretty young, and
Did you go to college at all?
Boston State for a couple of years.
Okay.
And then I got married young.
Okay.
And boom, boom, boom. I had 3 kids before I knew it.
Wow.
And then at one point, So anyways, I was a mailman in Cambridge.
Yep.
And somebody told, because I was the class clown at the post office. Every morning, everybody waited
post
for me.
office clown.
Yeah, I was a
Okay.
letter carrier. And every morning at 7 o'clock, I had to put my half-hour performance on. And then somebody
You mean
said,
like to stand up for the
well,
other
I would
postal
do
carriers?
I would do the zany, anything zany that made people laugh, I would do.
Okay.
And I did it every morning. And so somebody said to me, "You should go to the Ding Ho. There's comedians there, and you're just as funny."
Well, just before, hold on. What did you do? Any it sounds to me like you like doing slapstick, pouring milk on people's heads.
Yeah.
Just slapstick.
Well, it was more slapstick.
So
yeah.
what, did you
yeah,
do that at
it
the
was
post
very
office
physical.
too? Right.
It was very physical comedy.
You
yes.
do like Three Stooges stuff?
Yeah, it was all.
Yeah, okay.
All that type of stuff there, you
Okay.
know. But I had no idea what stand-up comedy was, Harrison.
Right.
To be honest with you.
At that time, yep.
And then finally, I went to see a comedy show with some friends in the post office.
Okay.
They said, "You should try that." Blah blah blah. And I finally went, and I did a mailman routine.
Okay.
And it went over phenomenal, and everybody thought I was going to be in the next Johnny Carson
Well, where did you do this? Do you
at the
remember
Ding Ho. At
What was the
Ding
Ding
Ho.
Ho? Is that?
The Ding Ho was the premier comedy club of the time, where Stephen Wright was
Oh, Stephen
founded.
Wright's amazing.
I mean, Dennis Leary come
Yep.
out of there, Lenny Clark, Steve Sweeney. All the guys worked out of there.
Right.
But I had no idea about any of this.
So it's in Boston, right?
No, it was in Somerville.
Oh,
It was
Somerville.
right in the Somerville-Cambridge line.
There you go. Okay.
So I said, I'm going to come back the next week. And who was the host the next week was Lenny Clark.
But boom.
And actually, I thought he'd be there. He wasn't there, and somebody else was there. But anyways, I started going and watching comedians, and I got to one day say, he was amazing, Lenny Clark. And I said, hey, Lenny, my name is Johnny Peasy, and I just think you're fantastic. He goes, oh, thank you. Call me Lenny. And all of a sudden, next day, I'm delivering mail, Harrison.
Yep.
And I happened to be his mailman.
Right, because he was from Cambridge.
Cambridge,
Right.
right? And all of a sudden I heard, Johnny, Johnny. And I turn around, I'm like, oh my God, he remembers my name.
Wow.
And you know something, Harrison? We became fast friends. This is 44 years ago.
Wow. I was going to ask when this
Yeah,
was.
40,
So,
yeah.
like,
We became
probably in the
fast
mid-'70s,
friends.
yeah.
And he was such an inspiration to me. I'll tell you, I'll be the first one to admit I was horrible. The only thing I did well was Jerry Lewis.
Okay.
But I had to develop. You know, and it takes years to develop, and it probably took me longer because I was a mailman. I worked 3 jobs. Then I'd run into Boston, do the open mic. A long time developing, but you know something? I wouldn't change a thing.
Of course. No, I don't blame you. I mean, you're a personable guy. And what could be more personable a job than being a mail carrier?
Sure.
You see
yeah.
hundreds of people every day.
I used to try all my material on
That's
my.
exactly right, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And then you know I've been so blessed, and it was because of Lenny. I worked in Vegas 2 or 3 weeks a year at the Riviera,
Wow.
Tropicana. I did stints at the MGM. I worked in Atlantic City, Borgata, Tropicana. And so those are the things that I mean. I never missed I missed out on a
What about
gig.
the Mirage? Did you work there too?
They didn't have a stand-up
Oh, they didn't?
comedy club.
Okay.
No, they didn't.
Okay.
And Magic, you mentioned
That's
Magic.
right, you do Magic too.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Magic came along. It was like I was a stand-up comic.
Yeah.
Magic was something I did, and it wasn't until years later that I put them together.
Okay.
And even now in the Boston comedy scene, I do mostly comedy. Every once in a while, I like to throw something out magical. I've been very fortunate because I've been able to work with some of the great Matt King, who's had one of the longest running shows in Las Vegas.
Yep.
And all the local we have so many great local magicians: John Stetson, Steve Cadolfer, and I've been blessed to work with these guys as well as a magician.
Okay.
And I'm very proud to say that I got a call about a year ago from the greatest football coach ever. His
Belichick?
name, Bill Belichick.
No way.
And he said,
Woo!
would you come to Nantucket and entertain for my son's bachelor party?
Wow.
And I said, let me think about it. I went, okay.
Let me think about
Yeah.
it. Oh, okay. You were pulling a
Yeah,
fast one.
yeah. And he flew me, and it took my son. He flew us to Nantucket,
Wow.
where I went into a restaurant. I entertained with close-up magic for 30 guys. Then he said to me, would you get downstairs and do that for all the wives and girls? I said, yep. I went downstairs. And then we walked to his house. And by the way,
He lives on
Harrison-
Nantucket, does
yes,
he?
Oh, he has 5 houses
Oh,
in Nantucket.
okay.
And by the way, he carried my bag
Okay.
to his house, which was about 5 blocks away from this restaurant. And he had a circus tent set up, and I did a stage show.
Was Brady there too?
No, Brady was coming in that day.
Okay.
Okay. But you know something? It was mostly his son's friends from college
right,
and stuff
yeah.
like that. And at
He
the
keeps the family stuff separate
yes,
from right. I
exactly.
understand.
And at the house, he had about 130 people,
Yep.
and again from all over the country, even our
Wow.
friends or relatives. And you know something? It was one of my son, who was the biggest Patriots fan in the world.
Yep.
We got to see another side of Bill Belichick, which is an amazing side. And to this day, we communicate. I text him; he'll text me right back.
Have to get him on the show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure.
Obviously.
Bill, did you hear that?
Bill, you watch the interview. I hope you like it.
And he
Okay.
just could not have been so nice, and his girlfriend Linda was just absolutely
He's
spectacular.
got a daughter named Amanda who had a crush
Yes.
on. I remember the first
That's
the
right.
first Super Bowl when they won. Amanda, she hugged him, and I'm thinking, okay, I don't know who that is. And then we find out that that's just, at that time she was 17.
Yeah.
And then she had a crush on Brady, and he didn't like that. That's what I heard. I read that
really?
somewhere in one of the sports.
He does that. He does because.
Well, I mean, it's it's his daughter, and it's just, and it's just.
Well, it was
football
ironic.
star.
His son Stephen was getting married,
Yeah.
and then 2 weeks after, Amanda was getting married.
Oh, okay, that's good.
And one of the tricks that I did for Bill
Yeah.
was a special one I designed specially for him.
Okay.
I brought up Amanda, and so I had
Sawed her in half,
Amanda.
did you?
And but it was just one of the highlights.
Is that what you did?
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay. All right. You can tell me if you want, that's fine.
And it was just one of the highlights, and it was all because of he called Lenny Clark up. He didn't want a comedian because he would have had Lenny, but he probably didn't want somebody a little bit off color,
Right.
And he probably wanted something a little, with magic. There might have been some kids there and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, it was just an amazing experience, and it was memories I'll treasure with my own son.
Okay.
For the rest of my
Have you
life.
gone to all the Super Bowls?
I went to the Super Bowl in New Orleans when the first year
too.
that that's
Yeah,
right.
right.
I was there. I flew down. It was a one-day thing. I flew down in the morning, come back at night. Although the plane did have some
Turbulence?
no,
technical?
the front end wouldn't retract the front,
Oh.
and so we had to circle the airport all night long.
Yeah.
And then I didn't realize I fell asleep. I took 2 Benadryl and fell asleep. When I woke
I
up,
didn't know how close to death you might have been.
Oh, well, when I got off the plane,
Yeah.
there was every type of emergency vehicle. It was
Wow.
all foamed because they didn't know whether the front wheel would collapse.
You didn't
or not.
realize that you might have. Wow, that's crazy.
Oh yeah, I slept through that 8 hours of circling
Why
the
the
airport.
Benadryl? Did you have a cold?
No, I had to get up because you know why? We were landing at 4:30 in the morning. I was
Yeah.
going right to work.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
that's what you use.
those-
What is
those-
it? Use Benadryl as like a sleeping agent or something?
Well, I had to go to sleep. I
Okay, that's
had
what
to
you.
sleep.
But Benadryl's like supposed to be for.
Yeah,
like,
but it also makes you very drowsy.
it does. But that's
Yeah.
what. Isn't that kind of dangerous? Wow, you know what you were doing. Maybe you're a doctor too, aside
No,
from those other things.
no.
Okay. Well, I've taken Benadryl. I know it tastes pretty good. I used cherry flavored Benadryl as a kid. I used to love it.
Well, would you take the syrup?
Yeah, the
Or,
syrup.
no, these were the
The
couple
light-
of
the light-
Benadryl
the
pills.
light-coated
And I tell
stuff,
you,
but-
take 2 of them and you go, hey,
I know. I love that
Yeah.
feeling. Well, let's fast forward. Let's
Sure.
talk about your current status of work. What's going on? Everything's really going well for you now, too.
I'm very fortunate because for over 35 years
Yeah.
I have worked every weekend.
You were able to eventually retire from the
Post office,
and then
yeah.
become a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, well, I've been a stand-up, but then again, I've been a stand-up for 35 years.
Okay.
So being in the post office, I was doing both.
You're doing both for
and
a while.
I was traveling,
for
doing
like 5
both.
years, right?
I'll give you an example,
Okay.
Harrison. Okay.
Yep.
I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
Be to work at 6.
Yep.
There were times when the minute I get out of the post office, I drove to right near Canada, and did a show. Got back
Wow.
in my car, drove back, got home at 4 o'clock, sat on the couch till 4:30, jumped in the shower, and was at work at 6.
No Benadryl for you that day.
No Benadryl
yeah, you
then.
need to be on your
But
alert.
those are the things I did and sacrifices I made because, again, I was doing something I loved.
Yeah.
I was something I was getting paid for,
Right.
which was great because it did help raise 3 kids and put a couple of them to college.
course.
Actually, 3 of them to college.
Cool.
So, so again, I've been very fortunate in the fact that I've been able to been working all these years. Mike Clark, Lenny's brother,
Yep.
and I started Giggles 30
You guys
years
started
ago.
it too? Oh, you were part of starting it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
yeah.
great. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Right from day one.
Yep.
So I've been there from day one. I'm there 2 weekends out of every month
Right.
to this day. And as a matter of fact, this week we have Steve Sweeney, Friday and Saturday.
guest from
Lenny
last
Clark
fall, right?
Friday.
Yep.
So, and you know something, Harrison? I've been so fortunate to work with some of the greatest comics in the country.
Far and wide too, not just around here.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so again, I'm a lucky guy.
Yeah, I guess you are, but you earned it. I mean, you
I worked very, very, very hard.
worked very hard.
I have to tell you, it's been a
but
lot
you know
of
the
hard
old
work.
saying: if you love what you do, you don't work. You just, you do
True.
love it. It's a great livelihood.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
well, as far as like shows you've been on, talk about some of those. You were on the John Larroquette show.
Yeah, I
you
did
Were on,
have-
and Lenny was going to make you his mailman, but then
Yeah.
because I know it's hard to believe, but the Gulf War kind of put the kibosh on his show.
Put the kibosh, and it was a great show. Lenny was fabulous in
Right.
it. As a matter of fact, do you know what was actually a spin-off of Lenny? Was Everybody
Loves Raymond?
Loves Raymond.
No way.
Because it's the exact It was the exact same
Were there any
concept.
of the cast members?
No, what happened was once Lenny was canceled.
Right.
probably-
Ray Romano's a great comedian in his own right.
Tremendous,
Yeah.
tremendous. But they picked up that same concept,
Right.
Because Lenny's show had the exact his interaction with his brother,
Yeah.
his mother and father lived
Okay.
next door. Same premise.
Right.
And we used to joke about it. We call it Everybody Loves Lenny. You know.
Oh yeah, Lenny's
But
one of a
Lenny's
kind.
a great actor. I mean, and beside the fact that he's just an amazing comedian, tremendous actor, and so you know, again, I've been fortunate to be buddies with him for over 40 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know, 40 since probably the mid-'70s when I was still in high school.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So okay, so when you founded Giggles, I mean that's what a highlight of your career that was.
Yep.
I mean you've been performing at all these clubs, and then you finally go and co-found one, which is like the icing on the cherry. Or
Absolutely.
whatever. Cherry on the icing, whatever.
And you know, being a part, you know, and Giggles and solely because of Mike Clark, the fact that he's an amazing booking agent.
Right.
And Giggles is probably the #1 comedy club on the East Coast.
Yep.
Everybody, when they start off, the one place
Yeah, they
they
make
want to
pretty good
become,
pizza too.
and they make great pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, they make great pizza. The Castroberti family run a great tight ship.
Yep.
And you know, like I said, every comic wants to work Giggles. The audiences are great. So
See the bricks behind you? They're not real bricks, but don't they kind of remind you of the Wilder Giggles, except for there's no Giggles sign?
well, it reminds me of the Cavern Club where the Beatles started.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I'm just checking on that. All right. Well, so that's great. So Lenny show, they spun off Ray Romano's show from that. The only thing that I would wonder is Lenny show took place in Boston, right?
No.
Oh, it didn't.
No.
See, I guess I didn't catch that because I know
No.
he's from.
I don't.
Oh,
No, that wasn't the
premise of the show?
Premises should be in Boston. Although It's All Relative
Yeah.
was like the basis was South Boston.
Oh, Southie. Okay.
Yeah, South Boston. Yeah, and the John Larroquette show was a bus terminal in L.A.
Right. Of course,
you know.
John Larroquette, a great actor from Night Court.
Night Court. Yeah.
Right. So it must have been
Yeah.
wonderful to work with him.
Yeah, he was quite a character.
Yeah.
You know, getting to meet him.
Yep.
A lot of the cast members.
Were you a regular on that show?
No,
Just
no.
one
I
time?
did Lenny would have me come out and do extra work.
Okay.
On the show.
Was he? Was he part of booking the Larroquette show?
No,
too?
no. He was a
Regular on it.
A regular on
Okay.
it. He was he was a cop on the Larroquette show.
Okay, so we kind of got you in.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And then he's done so much but I think his best work was a TV show with Dennis Leary called The Job.
Okay. Yep.
Which why it was ever canceled is beyond me. Best show was
Yep.
called The Job. There were police officers and funny.
Also went on
Oh, my
NBC.
God. I don't know which one it was.
Well, it
Could
may
have
have
been
been a
CBS. but
CBS, okay.
It was fantastic, Harrison. you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So now I just this past Saturday I filmed a movie shot,
Yep.
a 10-minute movie shot with Al Duchamp and Al Romas.
Okay.
They have a thing on YouTube. It's it's all these, and they play two private detectives.
Okay.
And I was a wise guy on there.
Okay. Was this like a mob film
Yeah,
or was this okay?
yeah. They do these 10-minute spoofs that
Okay,
they
spoof,
have.
yeah.
They have on like YouTube and some of these other little things you could go on and
Right.
stuff. It's called Two Private Dicks.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
you're Italian. You're Italian American. Have you ever been in a mob film per se?
No, I haven't.
'Cause
I haven't.
You look like you have that aura about you that you could be a mob guy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
a spoof, but
Yeah,
also
sure.
possibly like one of the members of the Sopranos.
Sopranos,
Well,
yeah.
you worked with Frank Santarello, didn't you? Santarelli.
Frank Santarelli,
Yeah.
worked with him, and his when I talk about iconic.
Yeah.
Right now, for a while I lived in the projects. Right next door to me,
Yeah.
Frankie Renzulli,
Yeah.
who was one of the founders and creators of The Sopranos.
Yeah. See, I mean, you'd be great on The Sopranos.
Yeah,
But they don't
yeah.
do it anymore.
Well, they're actually.
Are they doing like a remake of it,
They're
or
gonna do
rebooting
like
it?
they're going to do like you know who's going to be playing Tony Soprano? His son.
Okay.
So they're going to go back in time with The Sopranos.
Well, you should definitely look into being in that if you could.
I'd love to.
I always try to give advice to my guests that could help them out, and even if someone like you, who's obviously got it all going on, but this is my format for the show. I always say, whenever I see, I'm have a conversation with
Sure.
someone, and they tell me, and I'm always thinking outside the box. How could this person I'm talking to benefit from whatever he's mentioning or she's mentioning, and you mentioned. I'm thinking, you're Italian. You have that aura about you. You'd be great in if not The Sopranos, a spinoff of The Sopranos. Yeah.
Oh.
Have you ever written anything yourself?
Well,
Besides stand-up?
it's funny. When my kids were in school, I
Yep.
wrote 3 plays that the kids put on.
Okay.
And I have, worked on some work. Nothing that's been published in terms of sitcom. My dream was always to be a writer.
Okay, that's what I asked. This.
I'd love that.
Okay.
For the past 7 years, I've done a show called it's a play. It's a musical.
Okay.
Called The Last Days of Doo-Wop, from doo-wop to disco.
There you go.
And this past year it was called Open Mic at Mookie's Place.
Okay.
I was Mookie. On this one here, I was the Jerry Lewis Nutty Professor character.
Okay.
Mookie. And to rave reviews, and the singing and it was just a fantastic experience. But there's nothing like doing a live
Of course,
play on
that's your
stage.
thing.
Oh my God,
Right.
it's just amazing. Because when you do a movie, you can make a mistake and they go cut.
You want to do it? You want to do a little Jerry Lewis impersonation?
I can't do Jerry. If you ask me to do, I can't do the Jerry because if Dean would, okay.
Very good. Very nice job. Nicely done. Okay. Okay. Well, so here we are. We're like moving right through 2019. What does like the rest of the year look like? What does the summer look like for Johnny Peasy for you? What do you got?
I'm putting these shows together with Steve Sweeney,
Okay.
dinner shows. As a matter of fact, we're going to be doing one on May 9th in Plymouth.
Okay.
At the old
Next town over.
Yeah, the Old World Tavern.
Okay.
It's a dinner show, Steve and I.
Yep.
And that's going to be fantastic. And then on May 11th, we're doing one in North Reading.
Okay.
At the Los Dobos, Steve and I.
Yep.
So Steve and I, we got about 5 or 6 of these dinner shows planned.
Okay.
One is in Middleborough, I think.
Middleborough, yeah, that's a neighboring town as well.
So we're going all over doing
I know
these dinner
Lenny's
shows.
performed there too because my sister-in-law saw him. She
Oh, yeah?
talked to him, yeah.
Yeah. So we're doing these dinner shows.
Okay.
Steve and I work great together.
I know.
We do a joke off at the end. He does his comedy, I do mine. And in those shows, I'll throw a little magic in there.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I may stop in myself now.
yeah, you have to. It'd
should.
be great. So it's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of great entertainment.
Yep. Yep.
So then, I just, you keep busy. The summertime's usually a little bit slow.
Okay.
All the attendances slow down, and then come September, it hits the roof again.
Okay, because a lot of college kids maybe come back to school.
Well,
and see-
families going on vacation.
Yeah, right.
And you know something, Harrison? Who wants to spend a night in when it's 90 degrees out in a comedy club?
No,
You know
but
what I mean?
don't you ever done any outside comedy shows?
I have.
In a nice,
I have done some outside comedy work.
People like to
but
laugh
it's-
all year round.
Yeah, but you know something? The best comedy is intimate,
Okay.
small rooms that seat 100, 110 people, where the audience and laughter could bounce off the wall.
You want to know? Yeah, it makes sense.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, have you ever done anything else in entertainment? You ever played any music? You ever?
It's funny you should ask that.
Oh, I always ask that. Go ahead.
For the past 5 years, I've been tinkering with the piano.
There you go.
My father,
'Cause your father was a musician?
was a
Right.
musician, and one of his sons was one of the best trumpet players
Your brother?
at Peasy. He was my half brother.
Oh, your half brother. Okay.
And but he was an amazing musician.
Okay.
And so I've been tinkering with the piano. So about 45 years ago, I picked 20 songs I want to learn.
Okay.
Okay, and I've learned about 6, 7, 8 songs so far.
Okay.
Your Song by Elton John, The Long and Winding Road by Paul McCartney. She's Got Away by Billy Joel. Rocket Man, Elton John.
Nice piano numbers I get.
Huh?
I get that. They're all nice pianos.
Yeah,
numbers on the piano,
yeah. Something that you could play.
How about there's no business like show business?
There's no
There you
business
go.
like show
You
business.
do a pretty good Ethel Merman too. Well, guess what, Johnny? We're under 5 minutes. We made the half hour. Just go whip
You're
right.
kidding.
Oh well, we have fun on Topic Time.
That was fantastic.
Thank you. Now, so what I want you to do in the remaining time is give shouts out to people that are going to see the show. Lenny included, obviously. Maybe Dennis Leary, maybe Bill Belichick, anyone you want, and then we'll wrap the show up.
Okay.
Tell them what a great time you had.
Well, let me just say this. What a pleasure to be here with Harrison. And his staff here is just absolutely amazing.
There you go, Chris.
Chris is just absolutely the most professional setup that I've been involved with. And I want to shout out to Well, a lot of people. Steve Sweeney. Stevie wants you to come back.
He's right in the
Lenny,
seat here.
Lenny, you got to do the show.
You hear that,
It's
Lenny? We're trying to get
fantastic.
you on for 4 years, Lenny. Come on.
Maybe your brother Michael come down.
Absolutely.
You know, Mike again.
Jordan was on. Christina was on.
You had Christine Hurley on.
Christine, yeah.
Yeah,
I haven't had Christine Hurley. I had Christina Kostelakis from
Oh,
Sweeney
you
Toast.
should have Christine.
I'd love to have Christine Hurley on.
She lives right in your backyard.
Tell her how great the show is. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Christine Hurley, you got to come and do the show. You'll be absolutely fantastic. So, but come and see me at Giggles Comedy Club. I'm there 2 weekends out of every month, and look for me at a theater near you.
All right. Yay. So now you do travel. You're still traveling all over the country for your comedy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this I'm going to be going to Vegas in August.
Yep.
And also I'm going to the Penjenga Casino. It's about an hour from San Diego in California.
Okay.
July 11th to the 14th. Come and see me if you're on the West Coast.
Is that in San Diego?
It's about an hour from San Diego.
Right, but is it in L.A. or is it in
I don't
is it
know.
Anaheim? You don't know what town?
I don't know the exact town.
Okay.
Begins with a C. I keep on thinking.
Carlisle, maybe?
Yeah,
Carlbad?
something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I keep on thinking of the word Caligula, but it's
Okay.
not. That's not
I
the
love
town.
Caligula. I listen to you. Funny guy. Okay. Well, I'm psyched that I'm happy that you have you got such a good family life going on. You got 3 kids.
I got 3 kids. I got 3 grandkids.
3 grandkids.
Dominic, Anthony, and Marco Cerundolo.
Tell me you're not a proud Italian. Those names.
Yes, of course.
Okay. And I'll see the show too. That's why I wanted to mention
Well,
it.
they'll go on YouTube. The middle one, Anthony, is always on YouTube. I love that Anthony. He's amazing. He's always on YouTube.
Reminds me of the Prince Spaghetti commercial from
Yeah,
the old days.
yeah.
Anthony. Right.
He's always on YouTube, and he follows me a lot on YouTube too.
Okay, well, this will definitely be on YouTube
yeah.
as well. Well, listen, Johnny, great job. I'm so glad you had a great time with me. You made the show very easy to conduct tonight.
I am just so amazed that this went by so fast.
That's the reaction that I like to have from people, and I try to make it so. So you ready to wrap it up tonight with the music?
Oh, let's do the music, and you keep a great beat.
Thank you, and you can go with me this time if you want. You saw how I did it the first time, so it's up to you.
I
All right,
like-
folks, another great Topic Time episode in the books. See you more next time. Take care. Here we go. Here we go. I gotta get a new boom box.
Oh, I like this.
Isn't this awesome? High five.